Frances Tiafoe's run at the US Open was absolutely magical. He made it to the semifinals after a pretty rough draw that included getting past one of the greatest of all time, Rafa Nadal. And on the day though, he was no match for the 24-year-old. And the only thing more incredible than Tiafoe's game is the story of how he got there. So in today's video, we're telling you all about it. Let's get started. First up, Tiafoe's US Open ride. In his third round, the American beat the 14th seed Diego Schwartzman in straight sets. He was yet to drop a set in the tournament, but the biggest challenge awaited him in the next match, Rafa Nadal. And it goes without saying that he's one of the toughest players to beat on tour, but especially this year because he was having one of the best seasons of his entire life, and that's saying a lot. The Spaniard was 22-0 in Grand Slams with 2 title wins and a run to the Wimbledon semis that ended with him pulling out because of a foot injury. All in all, he had been absolutely unbeatable all year, and nobody expected the young American to be a match for the great Rafa, but he absolutely outclassed him. By winning in 4 sets, Tiafoe became the first player to beat Nadal at a Grand Slam this year. He also became the first American to beat Nadal in New York since James Blake in 2005. Tiafoe was also the first American to reach the final 8 at the Flushing Meadows in 4 years, and he was the youngest to do it since Andy Roddick in 2006. So in every way, this was a huge win. Plus, the man was far from being done. In the next game, he got past 9th seed Andrei Rublev in 3 sets. It was all heartbreak for the Russian as he broke down in tears in front of a crowd that was entirely against him, but it was all bliss for the young Tiafoe. He was in his first major semifinal. Next, Tiafoe versus Carlos Alcaraz. All good things must come to an end, but nobody can say he didn't give it his all. The 24-year-old was up against the brightest rising star in tennis these days, and he just fell short to him in 5 sets. On the other hand, Carlos was brimming with confidence in front of almost 24,000 spectators that were largely in his opponent's corner. He played the best tennis of his life under extreme pressure for 5 straight sets and ended the American's dream run at his home slam. If you ask us, that's a devastating loss. But if you look at how good the player on the other side of the net was playing, well, that has to be at least some consolation. And the Spaniard's living up to his reputation of being the best teenager in the men's side of the game since Rafa Nadal almost 2 decades ago. He'll play Casper Ruud in the final for the championship and the world #1 spot. And Tiafoe should take the positives from this tournament. He's proven that he can face up with the best players in the world and come out as the winner. We just know that he's got a great future ahead of him. Moving on, how did he get here? As we mentioned, he's got a story like no other, and you can't help but be in his corner after listening to it. So, let us enlighten you. Tiafoe's parents fled from Sierra Leone separately during the African nation's civil war in the early 1990s and settled in Maryland, where the two met. His father, Francis Sr., used to work in the diamond mines back home, and in the United States, he found work on the construction crew that was building the Junior Tennis Champions Center, the Washington, D.C. area's premier tennis training facility. It was located next to the University of Maryland campus in College Park. After a while, he became the site's permanent maintenance man and was granted permission to convert a spare office with just 1 window into a living space for him and his twin sons, Francis and Franklin. The twins spent 5 nights of the week sleeping on a massage table while their mother, Alphina Kamara, worked overnight shifts as a nurse. Tiafoe would watch the richer kids come to the center for tennis lessons, and he's previously revealed that he used discarded rackets to teach himself the basics of the sport. Think about that, to make it to the US Open semis with more to come. Next, his parents were understandably overjoyed. Now, we can only imagine how good it must feel to see their son go up against the legends of this game and completely outplay them. As soon as Tiafoe walked off the court after beating Nadal, he looked up at his player's box where his parents beamed down with pride amid almost deafening roars from the crowd. Both looked proud and super happy for their son. Afterwards, the 24-year-old talked about his win and what it meant to him, his mom, and his dad. He said that they have seen him have big wins, but to beat the Mount Rushmore guys, he couldn't imagine what was going through their heads. He said it was an experience they were going to remember for the rest of their lives, and we have no doubt about that. What a win, what a player, what a story. Coming up, how did Tiafoe get into tennis? While their father worked long hours on the indoor court complex, the brothers taught themselves tennis with whatever broken equipment they could find lying around. Francis' excellent ball striking and undeniable thirst to improve earned him a free spot in the training facility's after-school program, and eventually in the full-time training academy. But he didn't have his own racket till the age of 12 when he got his first sponsorship. The 24-year-old recalled that for him and his family, being around tennis was about getting out of their neighborhood and his dad being able to watch him and his brother. He said it wasn't supposed to be anything like this, but it was. Tiafoe made his mark mark on the international scale after he won the under-14 world champions at the prestigious Les Petites A's tournament in France, and he became even more popular after he became the youngest player to win the Orange Bowl, one of the top world events for boys under the age of 18. Less than 2 years later, he signed with Jay-Z's Rock Nation sports agency and turned pro. He made his Grand Slam main draw at the 2015 French Open, and within the next few months, he was already hailed as the future of men's tennis in the United States, taking inspiration from two African-American stars on the other side of the nation who came down from nothing to become two of the greatest tennis players of all time. Honestly, what an incredible journey. We couldn't be prouder of the man. What's more, Tiafoe credits Williams sisters. Frances has repeatedly stated that he wouldn't be where he is today if it wasn't for Venus and Serena Williams. He said that watching the sisters play finals of Grand Slams when he was super young gave him the inspiration he needed to dream of playing Wimbledon or playing on Arthur Ashe and other things like that. He revealed that he just had a big passion for the game and mostly for his parents. We're tearing up just hearing about it. Super glad he's got the spotlight on him now. And after his win against Rafa, Chris Evert asked the 24-year-old where he got the inspiration for his outfit, and he immediately exclaimed that from the GOAT, Serena Williams. And we just simply love to see it. We hope he reaches the same highs as his idol, who literally conquered and changed the game. Finally, another GOAT enters the chat. Folks, his win over Rafa keeps getting better and better, and he became the first man to beat the Spaniard at a major this season. Everybody was talking about it. It almost seemed like he had done the impossible, and later, he was losing his mind over a 6-word tweet. Of course, it came from the one and only LeBron James and read, "Congrats, young king, you've earned it." Now, which one of us isn't a massive Bron fan? Frances Tiafoe certainly is. He said he was absolutely losing it in the locker room after the match. He was just going crazy, and he didn't even know how to respond. The 24-year-old kept contemplating whether he should retweet it as soon as he saw it or should act cool and pretend like he didn't see it and retweet it 3 hours later. He revealed that the Lakers star obviously knew that he was a big fan of his, and now it seems like it goes both ways. He even said that he got a message from Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, and that was also super cool for him to see, and he was glad that everybody was watching. He talked about how the US Open happened at the perfect time when there's no real sports going on and people only focus on tennis, which is great. Now, tennis is also a real sport, if you ask us, but we understand where he's coming from. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you think Frances Tiafoe has what it takes to win Grand Slams in the future? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.